Good morning, friend. Today is Saturday, and therefore, this is a day for the live webinar on Akulmach Live. So, welcome you all on our channel. And today, we have a very interesting subject in our webinar. And we want to basically guide all the budding entrepreneurs and even the seasoned business people so that they can refresh their ideas. The topic of the discussion today is how to set up a new business and how you can set up the business in such a way that you should be proud of. So this is a fun filled webinar. Your messages will get displayed here. In case you have any question, you can ask your question anytime. Your name will get displayed here, and we will then address your query. So there is no Q&A section. There is no formal setup to our webinar. You can ask and interrupt us anytime. All right, so let's start our webinar today. And the subject is how to build a successful business that you can be proud of. And you know that, friends, it is a big challenge when all of us, you, me, and whoever is watching our program, there is a big challenge when you have a lot of ideas, but you do not know how to implement those ideas and generate a revenue, generate a business out of that idea. And that is where the buck stops. All of us get a lot of ideas every day, but then how do we convert that idea into a thriving business is the challenge for all of us. And we want to basically share some of the knowledge based on our understanding of the market, so that it will help you, guide you, give you a systematic plan. And therefore, this is a very interesting topic, especially in today's parlance. So let's talk about the agenda. So in the webinar, we are covering how to generate an idea. And then once you have generated an idea, how to make sure that idea fits into a business. So that means a little bit of research is required. So number 2 will be research. And then having done the idea validation, having done the research, you would like to then create a business plan. Because if it is not written on the paper, then you may not have a plan, because you may not remember everything. So it is important to write the plan on the piece of paper, and we will tell you what are the activities that you need to write. Not a very elaborate plan, but to start with. So I think this is where the third agenda for today. Number 4th agenda is the funding, because money is required for any business. Without the revenue, without the money, you will not be able to run any business. So we will cover how you can raise funds for your new business. Having created the entire business, having created the idea, having created what you're going to do, your new entity is going to do, now is the time to build the team. So after funding, we will discuss about how you can build the team, what are the activities, what are the policies that you can implement to build a team. Then you have a team, you have money, you have the product and services, you have to market those. So understand how you can market those product and services. After that, once you have established, signed up your first 100 customers, how to grow and scale your business. And lastly, we will tell you what are the mistakes that other people commit that you should not commit in order to set up your business. So be serious, and how you can avoid the mistakes that others have been have committed and learn. So the smartness is to learn from others' mistakes. So we will tell you what are the mistakes you should not be committing while planning all this, so setting up a new business. So this is the agenda for today's webinar. Little bit introduction about my company. My name is Chandrakant. I represent Akulmach Technologies. We specialize in video-based marketing. There are a whole lot of services which are woven around video-based marketing. So Akulmach Technology specializes in creating videos, in promotions, in using social media promotions, and also video promotions, and now also in e-commerce. So we not only provide these services as a tailor-made product offering, but also provide consulting services to others, so that they can set up their own e-commerce digital presence using video platform. So this is our positioning when it comes to Akulmach. And then I will also tell you about the anchors today in the webinar. My co-anchor is the CEO of Akulmach Technologies, Kanchan Verma, and I'm the president of the company, also head of sales. So between both of us, we'll be sharing all these topics that we have spelled out in the agenda. So without further ado, let us move to the first section, and my colleague Kanchan will present this section for you, and that is how to come up with a brilliant business plan.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? So you're all set to learn how to generate a brilliant business idea. And ideas are, we always get ideas day and night, but what are those feasible ideas which you can put into action, especially for business? So for that idea, I'm sure you know, and you should believe in that it should be brilliant enough and should be unique enough so that you can translate that idea into a business. So brilliant idea means it has to be new idea, or maybe a gap which is when you see services or product, but there are some gaps, and you must have seen many examples, many big companies who are actually searched the gap between those services and products and came out with a brilliant idea and initiated an idea and converted that idea into business. So this is a very essential part of generating idea. Now, identifying the problem and need of the market. So suppose if you are very good, you believe in bodybuilding and you want to open a gym. So and there's another gym in the community. So what next? What new you're offering? Opening a gym, another shop in the community, because that is a good idea, but it's not a brilliant idea. It's not a feasible idea where you can convert your business needs, because already community is already having a gym, and that suppose the A gym and A gym is already having a successful client base. So and again you come up with the idea, okay, I will also open a gym, but what is a brilliant idea in opening another shop of gym? So either you can offer maybe but for exercising a different kind of restaurant or breakfast which is associated with the gym. So in that process, what happens, you have a unique idea, because there's a gym shop, at the same time there's an offering of a diet plan, diet for all gymmers who are coming for the exercise. So that is a brilliant idea. Now how to identify the problem, that is also one of the this require a marketing research. Now generally you must have seen that you have must have seen and must have many people have told you that you should be passionate about the idea. Now passion is something, we always have passion. In the morning we do, there are so many things, so many issues we can die for, but for every issue we cannot die, because that always remain our heart, so that you know better. So when we are talking about passion, so what you have to do is you have to first identify what you are, what you actually want, what is something which you can work upon, and then after that initiating of the idea, you have to find out where you are good at. And when you just find out, okay, fine, there are A, B, C and D topics or idea which are where are good, there's a good actually platform where I can think of creating a business plan. But next stage is when you have to identify that what is missing, what is the problem of the market. So does your idea fit in those problems of the community, of the market, where you can go ahead with that particular idea? Now okay, find out that, okay, fine, this is, I'm passionate about this, a idea is very passionate, I'm very passionate about that idea, but is the idea, does my idea fit into the requirement of the community? That is also one issue which you have to work upon. Now the fourth stage is where you have to find out, does your idea is good enough where you can be paid for. So that is where the initiation of idea actually comes. It covers the whole cycle, a whole cycle of creating, optimizing, and then the passion turning into market problem, and then creating a business vibes for the community and for your own business. So this is very essential, that okay, fine, you have to be passionate, but for your passion, is anybody is going to pay for that passion? That is also one essential part of idea generation. So as now passion is there, people are actually ready to pay also. Maybe a small amount of people, they appreciate your idea and they indulge in your passion also, and they give you ideas. But is your idea is workable? So suppose if you are living in a rural area, and there's a school, because there are always a school, government is quite vigilant in opening schools especially in rural areas. But after the school, there is a gap where the children, they don't have a place to learn, and they waste their time after the school. So in that area, you can open a play school. So that is a feasible idea, that is a solution which you are offering to rural people or nearby people. Maybe let me take a new example. Suppose if you are interested in offering cuisine. So there are so many outlets of cuisine, but maybe you are passionate about the food and making of the food and creating recipes. That is such a good idea, because we need good food. We always appreciate good food. But at the same time, if you are not able to create a niche of that particular passion, then it is not workable, because you have to come out with a unique and very drastic idea to fight the competition which is there. Because if you really see, there are so many outlets of food. So what you have to do is that maybe you are providing this recipe of food for people who are health conscious. So that is a workable solution. You can work upon that. So this is how you have to validate your ideas. This is how you have to work towards your idea. Now you have identified, okay, fine, I'll be giving this recipes of, for example, I'm just quoting an example, but this idea, how far you can take your idea ahead. Is it a local idea? Is it a community-based idea? How it's a city or a rural-based idea? So you have to select your options. You have to select your ideas and workability of idea. So how many people are ready to take your food? Because there are so many dietitians, there are so many outlets also already. So what unique you are offering to these people who are health conscious? So this is here the feasibility and workability of the idea comes. So we have discussed the passion, the utility of your passion, how you can go into the market with the passion. You have to find out how it can work, what is the uniqueness of this idea. So again, you have to find out how we have to work, and does this idea convert into revenue? Does it idea convert into a company setup? So that is a workable idea, and you have to really do brainstorming for that. So going ahead, brainstorming is an essential part of idea generation. So you can, everything start with your family. So you can select an idea, ask your family to react on the ideas, what they think about that idea. So you will be definitely getting many other options and many opinions. There are some good opinions, some bad opinion. So you have to take both the opinions. Now go to the friends and family, community people, and find out what they are saying about the idea. So then again you will get the feedback. Make a feedback form and find out what they say about it. There are so many companies who are also doing research for the idea generation generated by many people before setting up any company. So go to the family, friends, colleague, and find out what they think about your passion, your idea, where you are ready to invest your money. So till now there is no investment of money, no money is put in. We are still on formulation of the idea. So this is something very essential. This is a part of idea generation for setting up a company. Now as I said, there are many ready-made reports are there. Suppose if you are looking for food industry, you want to make your company in a food, establish a company in a food industry, then there are so many ready-made reports are there. You can make your marketing research. You can create maybe a kind of a dummy campaign for your product. Small, do a marketing research of a small in community only, and find out what is going on, how we can really go forward. Is it okay to really go, and people are very affirmative, they are ready to give money, they are ready to buy your passion, your product, your services. So there are ready-made reports are there. You can also generate these reports by doing legwork. You can take idea through internet by asking them to fill the forms. So there are many options where you have to do. So this is a part of research. It is very essential that you should do a research analysis, that why I should go in the market, invest that kind of money on my passion, or my passion, there are any buyer of my passion or my idea. So that is very, very essential for activity in idea generation. So now when we are talking about idea generation, passion, asking, brainstorming, asking your colleagues, your family members, now time has come. Since till now, if you are successful, the time has come to put into an action. So when we are putting any idea into action, you have to go slow. You can't just put all the money for this idea in action. You have to go slow. Again, once you have the marketing report, you know what is the status of my idea or my product or my services. So let's go slow. Let's take up maybe your own community and generate that idea, give those kind of services. Again, take the feedback, and that will really help you a lot in this setting up a company. So now this journey is for just thinking of an idea, then taking that idea into these processes so that you can come to this stage, which is idea into action. So this is something which is really good. Now what happens once we have a passion, we are not ready to change that passion. So that is a very bad habit. It's not only you are, this is something bitter truth, where people are so passionate and they are not able to really take chances, or the challenge comes and people ask them to change the passion, maybe do certain correction in your business plan or correction in your idea. So sometimes people are not ready to take it, because that passion is a thing of heart, and heart to change it is sometimes become difficult. And this kind of mistakes not only small company people do, but many big CEOs also do in the in this industry. So please be sure that you have to be flexible and adaptable, because every day things are changing. And now in 2023, this is quite dynamic, and 2023 year will be a year of change and adaptability, because there are so many things which will be going on, which has already initiated in 2023. So you have to be flexible, and whatever is being indicated or advised to you, you should actually take care. Passion, sometimes we have to we have to change in our passion also, and that is a good practice, because there's nothing adamant, or you cannot be adamant on any idea. You should be flexible, and you should be ready to adapt, because if you are not ready to adapt, even if you established a business in the at the workplace also, there are many chances or many instances where you have to adopt new things. For example, if you are in a manufacturing unit, there are many things where you have to adopt technology wise. A technology partner will guide you that this is kind of change you have to do in manufacturing, so you have to do. So those olden days are gone. There's a new time is coming, so and in new times you have to be open. You should stand openly with open hearts to heart and open hands to really adopt the changes which is coming on daily basis. So this is very essential. So you should be ready enough to listen to the advices. You are ready enough to actually change your passion, do correction in your passion, adapt new things, and be flexible. So this is something really good. So this is something which I wanted to discuss with you. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Any Sunana, sorry. Annie Sunana is saying good morning. Good morning, Annie. How are you doing? If you have any question, I will be happy to answer that. And on 5th of August, we will be doing another webinar where we will be discussing how to validate the business idea, and that is a crucial topic. So please do not forget to join next Saturday. And now we will be discussing the next topic is how to do research for the new idea. So research is an essential inbuilt formula, maybe a process which is required after idea generation. So for this my colleague will be joined, and he will join this webinar and discuss how to do research and how essential is the research. So just give me 1 minute.
Welcome back, friends. So, idea generation, such a large, vast subject, and it's huge. And that is why we are organizing a new, completely dedicated webinar next Saturday, which is August 5th. So, if you are concerned about idea, how to validate an idea, what are the tips and tricks to validate an idea, kindly join only on this specific subject next Saturday on August 5th. So let's proceed further and discuss about the next agenda item is about the research. Now, as my colleague has already explained, that idea generation is very critical. You should have a proper idea validated by the market. It should not happen that you have some idea but it is not validated. So it has to be validated, it has to be viable. And that is why you discuss with your family and friends to see whether are there any takers for this idea for around which you want to basically make a business. So the next step is to do research. Now, trust me on this, friends, we are not talking about investing any money or anything at this stage. So what we're talking about is to basically prepare the groundwork. Prepare the groundwork for our business. And therefore research plays a very important role, and that is why we need to do a lot of research around the idea itself, because if we don't do research, then we may not know exactly what are the pitfalls. So if you prepare yourself, even with the idea, you need to prepare, and after you have validated the idea, you need to do research. So therefore, how to do research is the a higher view I will like to present to you. Now you have identified the idea, you have the idea on the paper, you have validated it from your family and friends, you have done you have read the industry analyst reports, and you have about 50-50 inclination that this idea is workable. So now you have to do the next step, is basically identify the target markets. Why target markets? Because whatever we do is about generating revenue, and revenue will be generated only from the market. So if the target market is not identified, then the revenue generation target itself is not identified. So it is important to take the next step from ideation to identifying who's going to buy from you. And Kanchan already told you about being passion. So what is your best ability? You see, you cannot be jack of all trade, you have to be master of few. So what is your best ability which gels with the idea, and who's going to buy for it? And you should be able to explain the the idea to the prospective buyer with a lot of passion. So therefore, identify the target market, and for identifying target market, you can actually do a little generalization at this stage, where you can say, okay, now I have the idea, and I have identified first 100 clients. So start building the data of this first 100 target audience. So when I say target market, it's not the region, it's not a city, it's not a country, it's a type of client that you are trying to address. Because the type of clients can be done in a cookie cutter manner, where the nature of the client remains the same. And if this particular first 100 clients buy from you, then the chances are that similar nature of clients can buy from you maybe 1,000 clients next. So therefore, identifying target market is very, very essential. And then you have to also understand the pain point. Now, what is the issue? Because it is not that you're starting a new idea, and if it is a new idea completely out of the world idea which nobody has, then the risk is very high, because acceptance can be an issue. However, the examples quoted in our show today are very generic, like food industry or a healthcare industry. So these are very generic ideas. So when these are generic ideas, that means although it's a new idea for you, but it may not be a unique idea. So when you have a unique idea, then the risks are higher. But if you have a generic idea, the risks are lower, because this idea itself has been proven already. What you're trying to do is basically enter that space with little bit of difference. Now that difference will not come if you do not have idea of the pain. For example, if somebody is actually buying from some XYZ manufacturer or service provider, what are the pain points they are getting out of that? Is it pricing? Is it time to delivery? Is it the quality? Is it how fast you deliver? How quickly you finish your work? All those kind of things. How you present yourself, that can also be one change parameter for your business. So above all, you have to identify the pain points of the target market, which is the target audience of your product line or your service line. So without understanding the pain points, you will not know exactly how you want to position. So understanding pain point is very, very important. A lot of people don't do all this kind of detailed study for the business, and they jump into it, but that is not the right way. Understanding this is very, very important, because the idea, personally, if I get an idea, I feel this is the best idea, and then if I have to validate, if somebody like Elon Musk is doing it and thousands of people are buying, so if I start the same thing, people will buy from me. That is not the way to basically start a business. You have to have your own clientele, you have to have your own branding, you have to have your own service levels, you need to have your own terms and conditions, etc. That will not come if you don't have understanding of the pain point. So that is why understanding pain point of the target market is very, very important. The next point is that everywhere, as I mentioned, that if you have a very unique idea, then there is no competition there. However, if it's a generic idea, then there are bound to be competition. So in any business, even if you open a grocery store, there will be another 10 grocery stores nearby. So there is a competition. The trick is to basically develop your own loyal clientele, because once you sign up a customer, the repeat business will actually drive your company. Even if it is a small consulting firm, the repeat business is most important, and therefore identifying the competition, what is that they are doing and how you can do better. So understanding customer and also understanding competition, both are important aspect of running a business. So therefore you need to also see in that market, maybe that market is small, maybe it's a street, who are the service provider, who are the product providers. You need to have little bit of understanding of the competitive analysis, so that you can be better prepared to address the questions raised by your future clientele. Now, why it is important? Because when you approach them, they will obviously ask you the same question: why should I buy from you? Because I'm already buying from XYZ. So how you are better? So you will have to basically find an answer to these, basically not to fall into a well of me too. You should be basically unique. You should be better. If you're not better and if you're not unique, then basically the business will take off very slowly. And just in case something wrong happens with the competition, then only you will get a customer in your pocket. And therefore, nobody wants to leave the customer. If you have a loyal customer, you want to do everything to satisfy the customer so that the customer sticks with you. Even if you have to sometimes absorb the cost, you do that. So similarly, competition is not a foolish company, right? They will also do the same thing. So considering all this, you have to understand your competition also when you actually start you're trying to implement your idea. So marketing research becomes an important part. In this section, we are discussing the importance of marketing research. Now, marketing research can be done by various means. One is, you have already done a bit of it in the previous section, where you actually discuss the business idea with your family and friends, maybe colleagues. You have also read the industry report. But then when you actually implement, you have to start thinking much more deeper. You have to start thinking about granularity of how you will basically generate first 20 clients. From first 20 clients, how will you grow to next 100 clients? So you have to be very, very specific, that when you start your business, you need to identify who's going to buy from you. You should have these 20 names in your mind. Initially, those 20 names can be your family and friends. It doesn't matter. But the next 80 will be somebody who is not part of your ecosystem. So therefore, the marketing research plays an important role. You need to have a scalable research model. And it should be scalable without the help of your current ecosystem. That means your ecosystem has to grow, and therefore importance of research is very important. You can use various tools which are available. You can also use Excel if you know how to do data management, if you can generate reports. There are a lot of free tools available to do all this kinds of graphical representation of your data that you collect. But data collection is absolutely important. For example, the basic, say you are launching a service which is related to food industry or a healthcare industry, then you know exactly that your business depends on footfall. How many people walk into your business, and how many will be converting, how many will actually end up paying you. So you know that your business is very localized, and you know that how many households are there. You are going to attract these households. So at least you start with the basic input, where you know exactly how many houses are there, maybe 1,000, maybe 5,000. So that becomes your target audience. This becomes your base to start doing your local business. So that is why importance of research is very, very important. And market analysis is required whether you are a small businessman or a large enterprise. There is no second thought about not having your market intelligence with you. So without market intelligence, you cannot scale up your business. You cannot even succeed in business. So it's a constant process where a constant feedback has to happen. Right now we are talking about, even before you actually start thinking about the name of your business, what we are trying to tell you is that before you even actually do anything in terms of setting up the company, you must clearly understand, what is that you're getting into and how you're going to make money, because eventually you have to make money. If you don't make money and if you're just doing this as a hobby, then it will not go anywhere. So that is why do your research well. While doing research, a lot of people do a lot of repetition. They keep asking the same question and again. For example, if you create a form, which is a bad idea, it's not a good idea, but if you create a form, then people will get cheesed off. For example, if you go to a hospital, they will say, oh, give me a feedback form. Now, chances are that people find it very difficult to fill all the details. And in today's environment, people don't want to pay, mention their email addresses and telephone numbers. So it's very difficult to actually create form-based feedback forms. But still, some old school people are still doing it, but that's not the way. However, when you ask simple questions, you can make us simple questions to basically generate responses which people don't find it very difficult to answer. If you create a very complex form and collect the data from there, then it may be difficult, and many people will not like to share their thoughts with you. And if they are not doing that, then you will not get the actual subset of the market research that you are conducting. So therefore, the biggest risk is how you be not repeating yourself, because repetition spoils the mood of the customer, and you don't want to do that. So therefore, this is something which is important, and remember this: while doing research, don't be repetitive. The next section is creating a business plan. And now we have covered two sections, which is ideation, where you have converted an idea into a idea which you have zeroed down based on your influence, your family and friends. Second is that around that idea, you are doing a research whether this idea is feasible. Are there any takers? Are there first 20 clients that you can close? And after that, first 100 clients, and after that, first 500 clients, how much time this will take. So the entire market research, at what price, who's paying how much, is the value of research that will be required in setting up a new business. The next section will be presented by my colleague Kanchan, and that is about creating a business plan. Before I go, there are some messages, so let me display those messages on the screen and see. So we have Bimla Mishra saying good morning. So good morning, Bimla Mishra. Welcome to our webinar about setting up a new business. So if you have any question around that, feel free. All right, so there is no question, so I'll move on. Nevertheless, we have a long webinar today. You can ask question anytime. There is no separate Q&A section in our webinar. I will take a short break, and my colleague will come back and take up this section of business plan. So don't go anywhere, friends. We'll be right back.
So welcome back. So now we have generated the idea for the business. We have also done the research. The crucial part is definitely a business making business plan. So business plan is a crucial part of any business, and it should be taken very seriously. In fact, we will be doing a webinar where you can learn in 2 hours for new people in the business how to really make a business plan. So just wait for that also. And as I was telling you that it is a very critical aspect of any business, creating a business plan. Now there are many people who hire the other agencies to make their business plan, but there are many other people, the CEOs actually, I mean to say, CEO who believe in making their own business plan by themselves. Because what happens, people who are in charge of the business, they know what is good and what is bad, what is inside of the business, and business plan has to be created by them. That gives more satisfaction, because every time the third party who is in charge of making business plan will definitely you have to help them also. So sometimes this making of business plan is being taken care by business owner only. Now what is a business plan, that you have to understand. So in case if you have any idea, you just can put and send us a message. I'll just wait for 1 minute. So going forward, so I would like to, yeah, and so I'm waiting for 1 minute. I'll just want to have, if you have understanding of business plan and how to make. So because business whatever, so I have not received any answers as yet. So what I was saying, that business plan actually help in creating a roadmap for our business, and it's very essential. So what is a business plan? So business plan actually it's a refined and research document which is required to before the setup, or in as the process move forward, you have to make business plan for everything. Now it should be well written, well planned, because that will attract investors, funding, building successful. This is the base, or maybe you can say foundation of creating a successful business. So why business plans are essential? Because you will get business loan based on the business plan. You will also get equity of the business. You can review, many people can review your business. There are executive evaluate the new business which you are setting up. So, and again it will also help in the agreement, in case if you want to go for an agreement. And in this whole process there are inbuilt plans which you have to make, like structural, organizational planning, and operational planning, the competitive planning which you have to do. So all this is a part of business plan, and it is very, very essential. So as you can see, there's an executive summary which is a detailed description of your plan. As any storyteller who makes a synopsis, something like that you have to make, because without writing up on your notebook, it will not help you, because everything is not in your mind. So you have to make an executive planning. Company description is very essential part of business, that include the product and services planning. So what product, how it is going to target market planning, and then competitive advantages that comes with the business plan. So you can see it's quite an essential aspect of business planning. The marketing analysis, as I was telling you, that competitive analysis also included in your business plan. So you can have that kind of ready-made, or maybe your researched work, where you can see where your competitor are and how you will encounter, or how to actually the challenges, how to really work on this challenging situation where you have to put your product and services on the top. So you should have an idea which industry you are entering and who are your competitors. So all that is a very very interesting and very essential aspect of business, setting up a business. And the marketing and sales is very, because essential part of business planning. This portion, this aspect of business is actually required more stress, more description, and more your attention, because marketing and sales strategy has to be very refined, because that can attract the customers, and that is where many companies spend more amount of money and resources, because this planning or this portion of the company brings the revenue for the company. Now operational management is, as I told you, because HR, salaries, and all this is a part of operation. What is the core structure of the company, how the employees will be behaving, how what are the holidays, the sick bay policies, all that is a part of operational plan. So that is again a very essential part of business planning. Now financial projection, that is again is a part of business, because as I told you, it's a research and refined document of your, and generally financial projection is done for 1 year. So it is again it is definitely a very critical aspect of business planning, where we have to project our business revenue generation, expenses, cash flow. So you see, it is really very essential to learn the business planning, because without business planning it is not advisable to go forward, and it is a critical aspect of anyone who is setting up the business. Now this is which we have completed about the making of business plan, and my colleague Chandrakant will be discussing and telling you regarding funding. And I just want to tell you, just be vigilant, because we'll be teaching you how to make a business plan only in 2 hours in coming webinars. So look forward for that. So let me take a break of 1 minute, and I'll be my colleague will be meeting you very soon.
So friends, we have understood the importance of having a business plan, because without a business plan, it will be very difficult to remember all the steps which may be required to set up a business. And now remember, we are not talking about the investment at this point. We are only doing planning. So if you don't do all of these planning, then it will be very difficult for you when you actually jump into the ocean of setting up your business. So therefore we are talking about importance of these steps, because these are absolutely critical. If you have created a business plan for first year, second year, third year, it will be a lot easier for you to actually steer your organization once you establish it. All right, so before we move further, we have two friends who have joined us. Bhavani Shankar Sahu. Good morning, Bhavani. Welcome to this webinar. If you have any questions regarding setting up new business, you can ask, and we can address those. And the second friend is Rajinder Singh. So good morning, Rajinder Singh. How are you? All right, so let's move forward and talk about funding, because this is the most critical aspect of any business. Without funding, you can't do anything. All right, so the statement that I'm making here today is that unless you're very lucky and you start your business with your own money and you have a lot of money to spend, then there is no problem. Then the funding is already ready. However, that is not the case. It's 99.99% cases you need funding to do any business. You need to actually invest in the business. That is why it is called investment. It is not called expense. So when you actually start a business, you need to basically invest in that business, either procuring raw material or setting up a factory or hiring people. All of that forms a part of investment. Say you invest $1 million, then using that $1 million, you want to basically double that money, and by doubling of that money will happen when you start selling in the market. So this is a general process. So without investment, you can't do any business. Let it be very clear. If you think that you have a great idea and you have you have done your research, etc., but you don't have funds, then it is a non-starter. So before you set up your new business, you have to also think how the money will come, how the money will not only come for investment but also the cash flow. So therefore this section is absolutely critical, very, very important. So why you need money? You need money to basically look at working capital. When I say working capital, it is actually the money required for your expenses. Now working capital is the technical term. So let me simplify for those who feel very intimidated by this term. It's the money required for your day-to-day expenses, for procurement, for basically sales cost, marketing cost, communication cost, electricity, water, any sundry expenses. So all of that put together is a working capital. So if you realize that for doing that business, the idea that you have zeroed down on, you would need to spend X amount of money every month, and then you are working on a business plan because you have already created a business plan. As per the business plan, suppose you have worked on a 1-year business plan, you know exactly every month is the money required, and over a period of 12 months, this is the kind of money that you need. And you will also know exactly when the sales will start happening, so that a profit starts to come into the company. So if you don't create a business plan, then you will not reach the stage of how much funding is required. So that is why we covered business plan before the funding, because now here you have to look at how do you basically bring the money into the company. Again, we are doing only analysis. We are not actually spending the money at this stage. We are actually trying to get the money for our business. So where we need to get money for, what we need to basically ask the funding agency or your own money, how you will be spending. One is the working capital, which is your everyday expenses, month on month. There is nothing, you can't stop it. For any business, you need to have working capital. So for this, you need money. What is the next item? For your business, you may need equipment. For example, if you're only doing services, even in that case, you would need equipment. You would need a PC, you would need some internet connectivity, you would need a telephone, you would need mobile, etc. So bare basic, you would need some equipment. Without anything, you will not be able to do nothing, basically. So you have to have some equipment. So there is a equipment cost, the bare basic. If you're setting up a factory, then there is a factory shed construction and construction machinery is the equipment cost. So you have to have money funded for purchasing of that equipment. So we have already covered the capital expenditure, which is your day-to-day activity. And depending on what equipment is required, you would need to basically get that equipment purchased, either on a lease or something. Some arrangement has to be done, because without any equipment, you cannot do any business. So there is an equipment cost associated with the business. Next is you also need to look at the expansion. Say, for example, if you're working on a 1-year plan, 2-year plan, 3-year, 4-year, 5 years, for 5 years plan. So today you start the business, you also must have an idea where you will stand after first year, after second year, after 5th year, and so on. So there will be expansion. Now, why expansion is required? Because if you don't expand, then your business becomes stagnant. So as part of your business plan, you should also consider details about expansion. How you are going to expand, where you will set up a new factory, how you are going to sign up new clientele, where and how you will actually start doing your supply chain into a new region. How will you basically grow from there? So for example, you set up a small mom and pop shop covering 5,000 households. Now, having covered 5,000 household, how do you grow further from that point? You have to obviously open another center which will have another subset of another 5,000 households. So that becomes your expansion plan. Otherwise, for lifelong, once you reach the maximum potential of 5,000 household, there is no growth in that area. So that is why you need to have some sort of expansion plan and the funding required for expansion. You may need to buy another factory after third year. So you have working capital for next 1 year or so. Then you should also do a little bit of analysis that when the business will start paying for itself, so that there will be no requirement for working capital after that, because the business will start generating revenue and will start paying for itself. And then third is the expansion. In order to grow after third year or fourth year, you have already established, you want to set up another factory, another new unit of the business, then you should have a fresh new expenses around it. So therefore, this is something which is absolutely important, covering the expansion aspect around it. Then after 5 years, if you want to grow by acquiring another company or merging with another company, so in merging and also acquiring, you need to basically pay. Suppose you acquire another ready-made unit, instead of, as part of expansion, instead of setting up a new unit, if there is another company in that area, you just simply acquire it. So whether you set up a new factory or new unit, or you acquire existing unit along with a clientele and employee, you have to basically weigh pros and cons of both. But in any case, you would need funding for all of these activities, and these are all practical aspect of running any business. Even if you're running a consulting business, you need to expand, and you need to basically be ready for mergers and acquisitions, because that is a reality of business always, not only today, but it has been a reality for a very long time. So we need funding in any case. Even if you have your own fund, you would need funding. So what are the options? How you can raise funds for all the business activity? Number one, easiest method is to approach a bank and apply for a business loan. Now, business loans work differently than your personal loans. Personal loans are very high risk items. Business loans are low risk from the banking standpoint. Bank thinks that these are low risk because you're already spending money in business. However, when you take the money on a business loan from a bank, then you cannot siphon out that money for other activities, for your own personal expenses. So if you take business loan, you have to invest in the company itself. Now, for a company, where you will actually spend that money? So that is why business plan was very important, that we actually provided the importance of a business plan. It is absolutely critical and important. Because you know that when the funding is coming, how you are spending that funding, and whether you are spending in working capital, or whether you are spending in merger and acquisitions, whether you are spending in expansion. In both the cases, all the receipts will be shown to the bank. So when you actually apply for a banking loan, it's very simple. However, it is not flexible. It's quite rigid. But interest rates are quite low. And you have to provide a little bit of paperwork, you have to do a little bit of KYC, you have to also provide the entire business plan. There will be a lot of assessment. You may have to give presentation how you're going to take money from bank and spend that money, and how you're going to pay the equated monthly installment back to the bank, because bank will obviously collect that money from you. So therefore, the first option is business loan. Second option is grants. There are organizations and there are countries who are providing grants and donations for running various businesses, and there is a separate process of running the for basically applying for grants. There are a lot of business, like for example, Google is providing grants to business, provided your business is falling into their bracket. Similarly, Facebook is providing, Microsoft is providing. So if you are associated with one of these multinational companies and doing something in that area, they will like to fund your business. And when it is a grant or a donation or some sort of a money which you don't have to pay back, so on the paper, on the face of it, it looks very attractive, but there's a process for applying for a grant. You have to first of all apply, then you have to fill an application, you have to define why you're asking for a grant, what is so different, is it some sort of a charitable activism that your company is trying to do in addition to running a business. You have 10%, 20% dedicated on charity, etc. So for that you can also apply for grants. So grants is a good mechanism for funding for your business. So grants is one, but just like the loans, there is an application form, there is a whole lot of presentations that you need to do in front of all these grant agencies and countries, maybe United Nations or maybe these large corporations. So remember that it's not something which is just lying there and you go and bring it to your company. It's not like that. You need to apply for it, and there's a process that you need to follow. And next is the private investors. So we keep hearing news about so many millions of dollars were raised by such and such startup. So all that is coming into the private investor area. So private investors are the people who wants to basically make quick money. You see, what happens is that if suppose I have some money with me, what are my options to basically grow my money? I have my bank deposits. The problem is the bank deposits pay you very little interest. So the deposits may pay you 6 to 7% interest maximum. The next method to double your money or grow your money is the mutual funds. You invest in the market, but then it is a high risk area where you actually make 12 to 15% in mutual funds. Anything between 9 to 15% basically you make your money. But if you are not happy with that kind of return, because then your doubling will happen after 5 years. When if you invest in deposits in bank, your doubling will never happen. But you invest in mutual fund, you can think of doubling your money in 4.5 to 5 years with 10 to 15% rate of interest with compounding interest rates. Next, very, very high risk item is invest in the share market, where you can become a king in one day or you can become a pauper in the next day. Very, very high risk area if you are an investor. And even higher risk area is investment in the companies. So if I am an investor, I have the money with me, I have these options. So you are looking for such investors who are willing to invest in your business. So here you have to make an investor pitch. That investor pitch essentially says that this is my business plan and I can pay back your money, doubling it after 1 year or 2 years. That means you're going to take the money of an investor, make profit, and make sure that whatever money you have taken from the investor, you actually double it or 3 times of the money that has come in from the investor. That is really the interesting part of it. So here also, when you approach the investors, you need to basically identify, you have to basically make an investor pitch. You have to make investment plan, how you're going to repay him or her the money, not only generating your own profit, but also giving profit, and very high profit, at least returns of 20 to 25% on initial investment month on month. Because if you're promising that you're going to double the money in 6 months, then obviously you have to make money for his investment at the rate of 25% every month. You got to pay from your business. So this is a high risk for both parties, for investor as well as for your business. But you can get very easily and at a very high speed without too much of paperwork, but a lot of responsibility. So this is one method of basically applying for funding, getting funding. Now in the end, I have to tell you that you have to be very patient. And if you do all these things that we are telling you to do, we are also telling you to be patient when it comes to funding, because you have prepared your business plan. You cannot apply for funding unless you have a business plan. So if without a business plan, you will not be able to apply for funding. So once you have the apply for funding of various whatever options that you are trying to exercise, you have to be patient, because You may have to conduct various presentations. You have to conduct meetings in various cities. You may have to basically apply for various types of funding, etc., etc. So above all, you have to be very patient. You cannot rush into things. So therefore this is something which is important, and I thought that making this point also as part of the funding exercise is important, because you should know that it is not a bed of roses. You have to exert, and you have to be very patient. You can't lose your cool when you apply for funding. So now we have got everything on paper when we are setting up our business. The next step is to basically build a team. Building a team is also very important, because you have already done the investment, planning of investment, planning of funding. You have also prepared a business plan, and you have also done everything on the piece of paper. Now you have to also plan how you are going to build the team. This portion will be presented by my colleague Kanchan, so don't go anywhere. In case you have any questions, feel free to send it across. We will address those, and please hold on. Kanchan will join you and take this forward in a moment.
Okay, so now you're all set to execute all the planning for business. You are almost very near to establish your business, but the crucial part is making a making a team, and team is a crucial part of setting up a business. So why it is crucial? Because team, without a team you cannot make any successful business. You should have a talented and dedicated people, and when we are talking about dedicated people, it is very difficult to really find dedicated people, and this is not the fault of people. Actually, this is the fault of the leaders who are having their business, because you must have seen there are many people, there are two A and B team, and you must have seen that some employees want to work only with the A team, not the B team, and the B team leader saying, why, what is the problem where people are not working with me, and why they are just leaving me and joining the A team? Because there's an issue of trust which is being crucial for the team members. So before going on the goals and objective, which has to be very definitive for in the company, what are the goals and what are the responsibilities of team leaders and team members. But I'll just give you a very small story, because a researcher says that almost 160 hours or maybe 110 hours in a week employees work, because it's an 8-hour shift, and if you he works for 110 hours, and in 110 hours there are instances which is maybe 50% he is or less than 50% he is in his with his family, because he has to do so many things. He is just talking to the kids, or maybe not fully involved with the kids, but he's talking to his wife or his parents. He is also taking care of his personal hygiene and all that. So that also time is being included in 110 hours of weekly work. But when he comes to the office, he is again giving his time in the goals and objectives which are set by the company head or company leader, or the business plans which you have created for the company upliftment. Now, what happens? Why he is so dedicated to one team or not the other team? Because I think that is a part of your the team leader or the company CEO to gain the trust of the employees. And for that there are many activities. There's a work culture which is being defined by the business plan, by the business owners. So what happens, the when we decide or maybe compare the family unit and the company unit of the people, there is the most many things are very similar in the family and in the company structure, because if 60 hours of week the employees is working with the company, that means he is working more for you and he is working less for his family. Why he is working? Because he has to sustain his family, the dreams of the family he has to fulfill. That is why he is working in your company. So you have to respect that aspect of the employees. And actually, if you say nobody wants to work for anybody, why they are working? Because of many other various factors. And you have to respect, you have to give proper respect to your employees, because these are the people who will take your company to a higher level. And when you are initiating a company, or maybe you are setting up a company, it requires a lot of hard work, not of your only as a business leader, but your team also to work for your cause, for your passion. So suppose just let me take again an example of family. If you give undivided attention to your kid, maybe 5 minutes, so that makes a difference, because in that 5 minutes you are dedicated those 5 minutes to your one of your kid, which eventually will flourish, which result into more loyalty, because family also have the loyalty aspect. Same here in the company, because if you are not respecting your team members, then if you have a feeling, oh my god, this person is working for me, no, he is not working for you, he is working with you. So that is the viewpoint, or that is the culture, and you have to provide a proper identity to the people, and then you create the levels of trust with your employees. And this is why it is very important. Once you find the right person, then you have to give him a trust, and there are levels of trust. There are few people who just work for 1 year and then leave, but there are few people who remain with your all thick and thins, and create an aura for themselves, create an aura in the market for the company, and take the company to a higher level. So once it is done, so that is very crucial aspect, to have a team member who trust you, who you provide respect and love. That is very essential, because if you see, it's a second family for any employee who is working with you. He has first family for whom he is working, and you and your company culture and company is the second family. So you have to provide a proper respect. Now before that, I would also want to tell you that in HR you want to find the right people for right job, and there is lot of struggle which company HR department actually goes on to finding right people. Once you have a right people, then you have to welcome them with full heart. There's no kind of feeling that, oh my god, I've hired this person and he will work for me. No, it is not. He is work with you. That is the motto. And here many company leaders actually fails to understand, and that is why the levels of trust is not being built. And that is why I have given you example in the beginning, that there's a team, there's a B team. The B team leader says, oh my god, my people are leaving and joining the A team, because the kind of respect, the kind of trust which is being generated by the team leader of A, it is why the people are leaving B team and going to A, and that eventually result into the benefit of the company. So this you have to really remember, you have to take care of that, and that is an essential aspect of business development. So I hope you will in case if you are planning to establish a company, this is a crucial part of making team and retaining team, selecting a right person, and then creating waves in the market. So now we have a next topic, which is setting expectation. And for this, my colleague Chandrakant will talk to you about this. And in case if you have any more questions regarding team building, please put forward. I will be happy to answer. So just let me take a break, and I will be joined by Chandrakant.
All right, friends. So, as part of the team building, it is very important to basically set up the expectations of your team itself. So, because it should not happen that your team is working on something which is not as part of your policy. So now we are still in the planning stage, because the subject of the webinar is how to set up a successful business, and these are the tips and tricks for setting up a successful business. So even for team building, you need to basically create the entire contract for employees, which exactly says what they need to do in order to justify their salary, so that there is no confusion. If they don't perform, if they underperform, then you have a reason to basically send them on a team building exercise or some sort of a training, so that they can come back with renewed vigor, etc. However, if you have not set up the expectation, then there is going to be confusion. So what exactly you need, what skill set you need to plan it, and you need to set it up upfront before you start identifying what are the roles for your organization. So this is part of your planning when you set up a business, when you actually look at the projections for next year, etc. And as part of this team building exercise or the team creation itself for your company, you should have a very robust mechanism where the goals are identified, actions are identified, and results are also quantified. So there is a feedback mechanism that is also established. Now this is again on paper only, because once you have written everything on the paper, then you can refine it in future, or you can append something or delete something from that document. But if you don't have that, then there will be a very ad hoc execution of your strategy. So hiring is a very important part of running a business, and therefore you should have all this kind of systems in place. Next is always celebrate. Always celebrate even the smallest victory that your company gets, your employee gets. There should not be a dull moment in the team, and that is how my colleague was telling you that there is a family kind of cohesiveness that you need to build. And one of the method of building a cohesiveness is basically to celebrate everything. In fact, you visit establishments like hospital, where you will see at all the places where they will talk about the employee of the month. So even a large establishment like hospital, who largely runs on the reputation of the doctors, they are also celebrating their employees. So imagine the importance of this activity. You have to celebrate, and celebration requires a little bit of expenses. So going back to now, turning back this whole connection back to your funding and your working capital, etc., because celebration will cost you money, and since you're planning to celebrate, you must incorporate that portion into your working capital. All right. You have to also provide proper growth opportunities for your employees, because hiring is one thing, but retaining is another thing. Just like retaining a customer is a different ball game, similarly retaining an employee is also a different ball game. If you are not clear about these ideas, it is better to incorporate a HR specialist who is clear about these ideas of retention, and make sure that you have that person on board in your company. Whatever the salary may be, you must incorporate that in your plan. If you are capable of retaining, then there is no question of then you know all the tricks. Therefore you can actually implement those retention policies, so that the growth opportunities are shown to the employees and actually given also at the same time. If the employee work hard, the growth is also given equally to the employee, and therefore it builds the confidence. It also builds environment for future expansion, environment for your ex-employees who will become your ambassadors when they step out of the organization. So you are actually sending out ambassadors, and your ex-employees can also join you back because you are providing such a good process-driven ecosystem for your HR policies. You have to also build trust, because if you are a senior leader of the organization, your employees are also looking towards you for solution at many times. I mean, you can't say that, look, I've hired you, I'm paying you, you better deliver. But because at some point in time, it is your responsibility as a business leader to ensure that your leadership skills are also percolated downwards in your pyramid structure, essentially to your employees. Even though you're paying, but it is your responsibility to make sure that you succeed as a team. So therefore, this is an important aspect, that you need to build trust where nobody is left behind. Your employees are treated equally, and they exert themselves more and more, and nobody is left behind. So that is your leadership. From your point of view, you are sitting at the top, and your treatment to everybody is based on certain responsibilities that you have defined in your employment contract, and you are driven by it, and so is your team. And once that is done, then you're looking at every employee equally. There is no partiality, and therefore that is how you can build trust. And if you do all of these things, then your team will become very cohesive. You will be regarded as a great leader of the organization. Even if somebody leaves your company based on certain things that you're not able to provide, or you're not able to fulfill the expectation based on your current means, in that case, if the employee find a better opportunity, they move on. That's the reality of life. But then they will not leave the organization in a bad taste. They will always go as your ambassador, and there is a possibility for those employees to return, just in case if they are not satisfied at the new place, or you have some new roles open up in future which can utilize the skill of that ex-employee. You want them to join you back. Therefore, you have to always look at becoming a great leader. Now, all of these things that we are discussing today is related to you, because if you are trying to set up a new business, then this webinar is for you. And therefore, we are talking about what you got to do to set up your business in the right fashion. Now, Kanchan will come and talk about the next subject. But before that, I will also give you little bit about the sales aspect, because you have already created the groundwork, you've also created everything on the paper, but how do you basically sell your services? So this portion I will be covered by me, and how to market the product and services which are coming out from your business. So biggest method of basically sales is advertising. Many people don't understand the importance of advertising, because advertising is one tool which can generate opportunities for you without you having to knock the doors. So now there is a trade-off. You actually build a very strong sales team and gear them up to go and knock the doors of the client. There are certain global rules around it. There are certain norms around it, and the success will depend largely on some sort of a analysis that you will do, especially when it comes to sales and marketing analysis. So therefore, if you don't do any advertising and you only depend on knock the door policy, then your reach will be very limited and will be entirely dependent on your sales team. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to put all eggs in one basket. Therefore, you have to look at advertising as one of the biggest marketing tool today, and create a system either through your own web portal or through some sort of a social media. Advertise on an audio video format, so that the lead generation can happen and opportunities can be given to you from the market without you having to go and knock the doors. There is another advantage of advertising. the filtration of data can be done very easily. If somebody is interested, then your sales team can look at only those opportunities which are interested, which the interest was aroused by your advertisements. So if somebody has seen your advertisement and they are trying to reach out to you either through email or through some sort of a phone call or through messages, then your sales team will automatically get a lead generated from the market. Now it is their responsibility to convert it. So their job of knocking the doors is reduced considerably if you actually have advertising as a strategy of selling. Now advertising is something which is again a different aspect, and if you are experienced in advertising, if you are a good marketer, these are the quality required to become a good business person. Now if you are a good marketer, if you are a good HR person, if you are a good chartered accountant, and if you are a good orator, if you are a good strategist, then you must be like a god. I personally believe that these kind of skills cannot be accommodated in one single brain. That is why usually people hire marketing specialists who actually think and eat and drink marketing. And if you start doing everything from your own with your own hands, the chances are that you start missing out on targets that you have set up for your company. So essentially you must first look at a marketing specialist, a CMO kind of a person who will actually drive your marketing strategy. You actually decide and give the targets to that person. That is your call. However, this person or you yourself, as I said, that not it will be lot on your plate to do, but then you have to identify the target audience to carry out your marketing campaigns. So where exactly you will be carrying out your marketing campaigns, it's very important for you to understand what type of clientele. Are you looking at revenue size? Are you looking at demography? Are you looking at region? Are you looking at online? Are you looking at physical interaction? So all that you have to decide upfront before you even plan your advertising. Plan your audience first. Second is choose the right channel. In today's environment, you have so many different channels, which was not existing earlier, 10 years back or 20 years back, 2 decades back. There were not multiple channels, but today you have multiple channels, and therefore large enterprises are talking about multi-channel level based marketing, because their brands are so well recognized, they can't ignore any channel. So they actually have systems and teams to look at marketing across all channels, so that their brand actually even get visibility even more than what they have been able to achieve so far. However, when you're starting your business, the funding is limited, the growth is also limited, because if you get so many opportunities also, there is no way to close them. So you have to basically choose your advertising channel very carefully. Even if you're choosing social media, you have to choose which social media to go for depending on your product or service profile. So that is a work of a specialist. You must engage as an external agency, as a marketing agency, or hire your own team to look at this aspect. Then when you plan your marketing campaign, you must plan for a very compelling marketing messages, very attractive, because the marketing message life is only 10 to 15 seconds. In 10 to 15 seconds, you have to register your product and services into the mind of your end client. And if you don't do that, then your ad will not give you any returns out of it. So make sure that your specialist or you yourself, you're carrying out the marketing campaign yourself, you must have a mechanism to create a compelling proposition in your marketing message, whether it is regarding a price value, whether it is regarding something unique, or whether it is something which is near shore, or I will do free delivery, whatever it could be. Please make sure that it is a compelling proposition that you're giving out in advertising. If you just do a generic advertising that, look, I am so and so, please come and talk to me, it is not going to go anywhere in today's world. So make sure that you have a compelling proposition given out in your advertising campaigns. Next is, there is no marketing if there is not measured marketing. So always focus on results. So if you run a campaign, run it for at least 45 days, single campaign. You can also run multiple sales and marketing campaigns, but give it time for you to give any market intelligence around that campaign. At least 45 days to 2 months. So thumb rule is, whenever you launch your campaign, make sure that you have given enough time for that campaign to operate and to give you result. Now, if you start a campaign today, you don't want to end that campaign in a week, because that is very little time given out for that campaign. Give at least 45 days to 2 months. And if the campaign is working, continue running that campaign for longer duration of time. Above all of this will be successful if you measure the result. Measured marketing is the key to success. Remember that. Now, if you can measure using Excel, well and good, but it's very tough. You will not be able to make any sense out of the data which is coming out from the campaigns. Usually, these are all the BI tools which are available in the market. Some are free, some are not free. Google Analytics is free. So if you're running your business, setting up your business on Google platform, there is an analytics given for free. Similarly, if you're running on some other platform, the analytics is provided. So make sure that you choose the right platform so that you can get access to this marketing data. If you don't have this data, then your marketing results will not give you any output for future planning. So any marketing investment has to be measured, calculated, and must convey some sort of a business intelligence back to you. So there has to be a feedback mechanism. Remember, marketing is not only lead generation process, it's also gathering the market intelligence for your product and services. So remember, that is a very important aspect. Now, the next section is how to grow and scale your business, because you have already established all of these things. Background you have already done. Now you have to basically keep growing beyond first 20 customers to 100 customers and beyond that. What are the tips and tricks? Kanchan will tell you. So don't go anywhere. She will be right back with you very soon.
So you are all set to start a startup. Now you have learned how to make building, funding, every aspect is being discussed in this webinar. So now once you are set up, you're done with the setup of your business. Now you have to know how to scale up your business, and that is a very crucial aspect of business development. And so that means new strategies has to be made, and you have to increase and expand into the new markets. You have to hire new employees, and above all, you have to sometimes you have to customize your product according to the client or according to the customer, and sometimes you have to involve the customer into your business. So that is also one good strategy. So going forward, you can actually go for a new product launch. And when I'm talking about a new product launch, you must have seen the Raymond. And when I'm talking about customization according to the customer desire, that means, and if you really see or read a case study of Raymond, you will find out they have taken their business to the customer and they designed these suits which are comfortable, suitable to the customer. So, and this is a new product line when they started this kind of involvement of the customer. So in your case also, you have to actually launch a new product, or maybe a subsidiary product, supplement product, which enhance the product development, or maybe give boost to your already existing product in the market. So this is also a very crucial aspect, how to scale up your business. Now it is again very crucial, because sometimes you have exhausted all the customers in the community, or maybe in the district or in a city. You should target the new market also, and then if you target a new market, definitely your client base will increase, and you will have to do more production of the product or services. You have to scale up your services. So this is a very good aspect of scale up of your existing business. So this you have to really think about it. And then you have to do financial projection. You have to involve your employees, your team members. Okay, fine, for last quarter I had been doing this, and now maybe next quarter this is the other financial projection I'll be doing. For 3 months I'll be doing this aspect, and this is how my revenue will be generated. Maybe after 3 months or 4 months I will be doing more financial projection. And you have to involve everybody in this financial projection. You have to give the set of responsibility to your employees who are working with you. So and make them understand that how crucial is this for the company, for everybody in the company, and financial projection will help you to do that. And then there another aspect where you can scale up is invest in a small scale industry and sales and marketing. And investment in sales and marketing very crucial, actually, because sales is a frontline activity of any company, and marketing, as Chandrakant was discussing, that marketing is again an aspect of it's somehow related little bit with advertising. You have to inform your customer what you are into and how your product or services can change their lives, because whatever idea you have generated, it has to be scalable, it has to be sellable to your customer. So invest more amount of money, that means invest on the employees, hire a best of the sales professional for your company. That is very crucial in scaling up your business. And at the same time give full kind of, because sales and marketing professionals are frontline professional of any company. So give charge or financial projection, we have already discussed. Give a frontline responsibility and give them a free hand to work, because if they are good, if they are committed towards your company, they will definitely bring you result. They will definitely open new business for you in different territory. So this is something which you have to keep in mind. So invest in them. Time investment, money investment, strategy investment, all is there. And so this is a very crucial aspect of company scale up. So this is something which we have to do once we want to do scale up in company business. Customization is also coming up very crucially in coming years, because you give the customer or your client what they actually want, and you make those product and services woven with the desires of customers, and that is again, it's coming up really fast. So this is it. And we have next topic, how to avoid the top mistakes made by new business owner, and this will be discussed by Chandrakant, my colleague. So just give me 1 minute and he will be right back with you.
All right, friends. So, lot of learning in today's webinar, and you should be able to create your own business now. You should be able to follow all these best practices that we have conveyed to you through this webinar, and you should be able to generate your own ideas and make them into business. Before I proceed further, there are few viewers, and let me welcome them. Priyanka is saying good morning. Welcome to this webinar, Priyanka. If you have any questions regarding how to set up your business, you please send it across and we will address that. All right. So now we have done a lot of groundwork today. We have actually conveyed what are the steps involved in a very precise manner. Just in case if you land into any trouble, you can actually contact us. We will be able to guide you through and make sure that your business is successful. But before we end the webinar, this is a topic which is very, very important, because what not to do, what others have done and failed. The intelligent person is who learn from the industry mistake. And therefore, this is an important aspect, and we don't want to spend too much time on this, but this is sort of a summary, because if you don't do any of these things that we have told you, then you're bound to suffer some sort of a setback. Why I'm saying this? Because the key to success is actually proper planning, and all of these things will help you do proper planning. And if you don't do the proper planning, then in case you land into some sort of a trouble, then you will have to do replanning, or your something that you have already invested will go waste. So to avoid all of that, we must focus on what others have not done and failed. So first is not doing enough market research. So market research for any business is absolutely critical. When you set up your business, you have to do a lot of market research, and market research is a constant process. It's not one time process that, look, I did the market research, but then so I am right, and you know why it is not happening. That is not the way things function. Market research is very important, and situation change in business. There could be new regulation, there could be new marketing paradigm, there could be new product strategies, and because of that your small business will get hit. So you have to be constantly researching the market. You must create an ecosystem which will keep giving you feedback of what is going on in your market area. So therefore, not doing enough market research is a common mistake. Please don't commit such a common mistake. Make sure that your market research is very robust. Your feedback loop is well established in the organization. There is a process driven marketing feedback which you are alwaysly exposed to as a leader of the company. Number 2, not having a clear business plan. Not having a clear business plan is absolutely not done, because if you don't have a business plan, please don't get into any business. Please don't start a company. Please don't spend money if you don't have a business plan, because without a business plan, you will not even get a single dime of funding. Business plan is absolutely important, not only for you, but also for your future, because using that business plan, you will execute step by step activities that you have planned for, and also subsequently if you apply for funding, you will get the funding based on the business plan. If you don't have a business plan, then no entity in the world, including banks, will like to fund your project. So make sure that you don't overlook that aspect of a business plan. Always work on the business plan before you start your business. Next, not having enough funding. Now, how would you know that your funding is not adequate for the kind of business that you're planning for? That you will only get if you have a business plan in place. You would know exactly what is the cash flow. If you have done that study on the paper, then only you will know, you have clarity on what kind of money is required, when it is required, how you will get it. And if you don't have the adequate funding, then obviously the speed of execution of the business plan will slow down. So, but the fact is that if you don't have a business plan, then you will not get any clarity of how much funding is required for running your business. Next, this is where most people go wrong. That is not relying on marketing, because marketing is a very important aspect. If you are a very good technical person and you think that since I'm a technical person, I know the quality related issues, I will be able to generate the best quality product or services, I don't need any support from the marketing team. But that is not the way business works. Large companies spend 30 to 40% of their turnover into marketing because their product is so well established. Now they have to basically spend the money to remain at the top. So therefore, marketing is a very, very important aspect. And when you start your business, you must ensure that 10 to 15% of your budget allocated must be spent in marketing activities. This is a bare minimum. So if you're spending $1 million, make sure that $150,000 are spent in marketing activities. So 10 to 15%. Large companies spend 30 to 40%. I'm not saying spend 30 to 40%. Make sure that is important expense item in your balance sheet. And if you don't do that, there will be no taking off of your business, because there is no way. Even if with your own connections you are able to convert 20 clients, but what after that? What about sales support? What about somebody's calling? What happens to that? So all kind of these activities, you need to have marketing plan. And people don't do marketing, they have confidence in marketing, they are bound to suffer, they are bound to fail. If you can do marketing yourself, well and good, it's perfect. Chances are that you will not be able to do everything. Now as a leader, you're not only running the company, you're also chasing the funding, you're also looking at HR policies, now you're also looking at marketing. So I don't think anybody can wear so many hats. So make sure that your marketing, HR, and finances are outsourced to some proper agencies, or you have selected the right candidate to run these departments in your organization. Then number 5 is not managing finances properly. So that non-managing finances properly will happen if you don't have a plan on the paper, because then you will miss out certain expenses, and then there could be panic sometimes, and then you will have to basically spend the money which is allocated for something else. So if you have a proper budget defined, then you will never land into this situation where your finance mismanagement will happen. So if you have a proper robust plan on the paper, then you will go with that plan. So don't do that. Make sure that your financial planning is perfect and you go by the book. There could be iteration in that plan, that is okay, but if you don't have a plan, then you will miss out on some certain things. Now iteration can also be up to the extent of 5 to 10%. If it is 50% iteration, that means your plan is not robust. So spend time in planning. That is the mantra for setting up a new business. Next point is hiring the right people. Now if the mindset of the people that you are hiring does not match the mindset, your mindset, or the company policies, then there's no point in hiring that person, because that will become like a distress hiring, because that person is hungry for a job, you're hungry for a person to come in, and therefore both parties are hungry but not thinking logically, and this whole kind of equation based on hunger of or any greed will result into negativity. Therefore don't do this. Always hire the right people. Never do panic hiring. Even if it takes time, make sure that you spend enough time in ensuring that the right people are hired. And the last point is not giving up when the things get tough, and that is where the leadership quality comes in. If you think you are a great leader, then only you must venture into setting up your own business. If you think, if you know, and how do you know that? Basically, you can actually talk to people, do evaluation, self-evaluation. If you have the right leadership quality and you can sustain the pitfalls that you may find in your roadmap, and if you're not able to absorb them, handle them, come up with a solution, then please don't start any business, because this is where you should do planning upfront, and also plan risk analysis as part of your business management, so that you know up to what extent you need to go if things get tough, what you need to do in case you're not able to generate enough revenue. And these are the things that you must be careful and avoid what others have done and failed. And we are telling you this in a very concise manner, so that you know exactly what are the things that you don't have to do. And I can end the webinar today, but don't forget to sign up this next Saturday webinar, which is about validating business idea. So we will be discussing about how to validate the business idea in much more greater detail. And ideation is the starting point of setting up the business. So don't miss out on this webinar. The link is given in the description below. Click on that and click on the notify button so that you will not miss. The webinar starts at 11 a.m. next Saturday, which is August 5th. So friends, we had a very lengthy discussion today in order to give you all the inputs that may be required for you to think like an entrepreneur and set up your own business, and what are the things that you need to do. Suppose you have an idea, how to implement that idea and create an entrepreneur yourself, start hiring people, start selling, signing up customers and making revenue for yourself. So thanks for joining us live today. I'd like to take a leave today, only to catch you again in the next webinar on August 5th. Until then, have a rocking week. Take care of yourself and happy selling.